Hello everyone, it's Kim and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another round of the TBR Cafe where I play my game and choose my books for each month. I am very excited for April because I will be sharing, of course, the TBR roles and what books I'm choosing for those, but also what my reading plans are for the Magical Readathon hosted by G over at Book Roast, and I will link all that readathon information down below for you. So, without further ado, let's get started with the game. Roll number 1 is going to be an 8, and we're going to start up at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. Wow, that was wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and coffee break right off the bat. Let's see what we got. No coffee, oldest publication. Roll number 1 was a coffee break, and unfortunately we didn't have any coffee. And because of that, we have to read the oldest publication, but I'm actually really excited about this one because for the longest time I thought that it was a different book than it actually was. And so now that this has actually come up and it's time to read it, I'm very excited because the oldest book that I have is actually The Castle of Otranto by Horace Walpole. Now, this is basically the first supernatural English Gothic novel. It was written by Horace Walpole. I picked this up when I was in England and I was visiting his home, Strawberry Hill House. If you are in London or the surrounding area, go visit this house. It is fantastic. The Gothic architecture is beautiful, but he is the author of this book. And so, of course, I picked it up for pretty much every reader friend. And yeah, I think I bought like 4 copies of this book while I was there. So I'm very excited to get to it. I also have it on audio, so I am probably going to listen to it. I do that with classics. It makes it a little bit easier to read. But let me tell you what this first supernatural novel is all about. The Castle of Otranto, published in 1764, is the first supernatural English novel and one of the most influential works of Gothic fiction. It inaugurated a literary genre that will be forever associated with the effects that Walpole pioneered. Professing to be a translation of a mysterious Italian tale from the darkest Middle Ages, the novel tells of Manfred, Prince of Otranto, whose fear of an ancient prophecy sets him on a course of destruction. After the grotesque death of his only son Conrad on his wedding day, Manfred determines to marry the bride-to-be. The Virgin Isabella flees through a castle riddled with secret passages. Chilling coincidences, ghostly visitations, arcane revelations, and violent combat combine in a heady mix that terrified the novel's first readers. In this new edition, Nick Groom examines the reasons for the book's extraordinary impact and the Gothic culture from which it sprang. The Castle of Otranto was a game changer, and Walpole the writer who paved the way for modern horror exponents. I am very excited. The book itself, there's quite an introduction. The story itself is only... let's see. So it starts on page 15, I think, and goes to page 112. So it's just shy of 100 pages. So it's really only this long. So it's really short. I am going to go ahead and, of course, read all of the educational introductions and things because I'm just really interested to hear all about that inspiration on Gothic literature and all of that, all the fun little juicy details about it. So I'm very excited to finally be reading The Castle of Otranto by Horace Walpole. Roll number 2 is a 1. We're going for a cupcake, which is our challenges, I believe. I believe there are challenges. So we have Project Zero TBR NetGalley. That's good, because I need to get some of those read. Roll number 2 gave us the Project TBR NetGalley. So I chose a book off my TBR that fits perhaps a couple prompts that I'll be needing for the month of April. But For this one, I've chosen Play the Fool by Lena Chern. I do not have a physical copy of this. This was given to me as an e-arc. I want to say, let's see, it came out in 2023, so I'm guessing I've had this since 2022. So there are much older NetGalley books on my my backlog of NetGalley, so not too bad reading one from 2022. So this one is about a cynical tarot card reader seeks to uncover the truth about her friend's mysterious death in this delightfully clever whodunit. For Katie True, a keen gut and quick wit are just the tools of the trade. After a failed attempt at adulting in Chicago, she's back in the suburbs, living a bit too close to her overbearing parents, jumping from one dead-end job to the next, and flipping through her tarot deck for guidance. Then along comes Marley. Mysterious, worldly, and comfortable in her own skin, Marley takes a job at the mall where Katie peddles Russian tchotchkes. The two just get each other. Marley doesn't try to fix Katie's life or pretend to be someone she's not, and Katie thinks that with Marley's friendship, she just might make it through this rough patch after all. So one day, having been encouraged by Marley to practice soothsaying, Katie reads tarot for someone who stumbles into her shop. But when she sneaks a glance at his phone, she finds more than just clairvoyant intel. She finds a photo of Marley with a gunshot wound to the head. The bottom falls out of Katie's world. Her best friend is dead. Who killed her? She quickly realizes there are some things her tarot cards can't foresee, and she must put her razor-sharp instincts to the ultimate test. But the truth has deadly consequences, and Katie's recklessness lands her in the crossfire of a threat she never saw coming. Now Katie must use her street smarts and inner strength card to solve Marley's murder or risk losing everything. I'm obsessed with how this book sounds. I think it's going to be very fast-paced. The tarot card edition is really interesting. The cover is stunning. I'm just all about this book as a whole. I was very excited that I got the e-arc of it, and of course, I just didn't read it in a timely manner. It's a problem, but I am very excited to get to it this month. Roll number 3 is a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for an aesthetics on the cover prompt. And we're going to be reading a book with blue on the cover or a blue cover. Roll number 3 gave us a coffee, which was the aesthetics, and so we got a book with a blue cover or blue on the cover, and for that I am going with Check Me Out by Becca Wilhite. So this is a small town romance feel. So I'm going to go ahead and read you what it's about. Greta loves her job as assistant librarian. She loves her best friend Will, the high school civics teacher and debate coach. She even loves her mother, despite her obvious disappointment that Greta is still single. Then she meets Mac in the poetry section of the library, and she is smitten. Mac is heart-stoppingly gorgeous and showers her with affection, poetic text messages, and free hot chocolate at the local cafe where he works. I mean, that alone sounds good to me, right? The only problem is that he seems to be a different person in his text than in his face-to-face conversation. When the Franklin Library is threatened with closure, Greta leaps into action. She arranges for a Battle of the Bands book jam, hosts a book signing by a famous author, and finally stages a protest that raises more than a few eyebrows. Through it all, she slowly realizes that it's Will, not Mac, who she turns to for support and encouragement. Mac has the looks, Will has the heart. How can she choose between them? Check Me Out is a contemporary romance with just a hint of Cyrano de Bergerac that reminds us to never judge a book by its cover. It sounds good. I have been loving some small town romances in the last year or so, so this one sounds really cute, really fun, and it kind of sounds perfect for like a springtime read, even though I don't know when it actually takes place. But Check Me Out by Becca Wilhite. And possibly our final roll is going to be a 1, which is our genre prompt. So I'll be reading a adult fantasy. And the final roll number 4, gave us an adult fantasy, which means I am able to get my one of my most anticipated reads for this year on my TBR, and one of my most anticipated releases in March/April, and that is Empire of the Damned by Jay Kristoff. This is the sequel to Empire of the Vampire, which I absolutely loved, and I cannot wait to see where this whole crazy journey is being taken. I don't know what's going to happen in this. I don't even have theories on what's going to happen in this. I just know that I'm very, very excited about it, and I'm excited to have this beautiful edition from Goldsboro. But yeah, Empire of the Damned, very excited. I'm not going to read what it's about because it is a sequel, and I don't want to give anything away for anyone who has not read Empire of the Vampire, but check it out if you're interested in vampires and adult fantasy, and there's so many good characters. I'm really hoping that we get to see a little bit more of a couple of them than we got to in the last book, so I'm very excited that I was able to fit this into a prompt for the TBR. Now that the TBR rolls are done, we have to pick my Patreon pick for the month out of the TBR Acorn. We are running very low on a few of these, and if you do want to get in on this, hop down to the link below in my Patreon, and any tier is able to give me some numbers to put in the TBR Acorn to help me choose some books. So let's pick one out and see what random book I have in store for me in April. Alright, let's see what it is. I make these way too tiny and then I can never get them open. Okay. Alright, we're going to Bookshelf 3, book number 8, and it's another pick from Servasha. So last month's pick of Star Daughter did not go quite as planned, so I'm hoping Servasha's second random pick for me is a little bit better. So Bookshelf 3, book 8, let's see what it's going to be. Alright, Bookshelf 3, book 8. So here we go, Bookshelf 3. And we have my ARC backlist. So let's head on to the end here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, book number 8 is We Rule the Night by Claire Eliza Bartlett. For the Patreon TBR Acorn pick, we have We Rule the Night by Claire Eliza Bartlett. So I've had this one for a little while. I got this from Novel, so thank you, Novel. I am sorry that I did not review this in a timely manner, but it's happening. We got it going right now. I have read a book from Claire Eliza Bartlett before. It was called The Winter Duke, which I loved. I'm pretty sure I gave it 5 stars. Gave it 4 or 5 stars, somewhere in there. I'm pretty sure it was 5, and it was so good. So I know I like the author's writing style and storytelling, so I'm hoping that I'm going to enjoy this one just as much, and that this is what this one is about. This is what this one's about? Yeah, that made sense. But here's the summary. 17-year-old Revna is a factory worker manufacturing war machines for the Union of the North. When she's caught using illegal magic, she fears being branded a traitor and imprisoned. Meanwhile, on the front lines, Lene defied her father, a Union general, and disguised herself as a boy to join the army. They're both offered a reprieve from punishment if they use their magic in a special women's military flight unit and undertake terrifying deadly missions under cover of darkness. Revna and Lene can hardly stand to be in the same cockpit, but if they can't fly together and if they can't find a way to fly well, the enemy's superior firepower will destroy them if they don't destroy each other first. We Rule the Night is a powerful story about sacrifice, complicated friendships, and survival despite impossible odds. So I like it. It sounds like there's going to be a little bit of like some politics, political intrigue. It's not quite giving me Glass Alliance series, but it has that same like the flights, the flying, the battles, the war, but with a good dose of magic, which is always fun. And I can't wait to see how the magic system works in this book. So We Rule the Night, by Clara Liza Bartlett. It is supposed to be part Shadow and Bone, part Codename Verity, which I have read Shadow and Bone, of course, love Shadow and Bone. I have not read Codename Verity, but I've heard good things about it, so that gives me quite a bit of hype for this book, and I'm really excited. Also, the cover alone is stunning. So, we rule the night. And the final book for my main April TBR is the Patreon book club that I run called the Forget-Me-Not Fantasy Book Club. Every other month is our fantasy pick, and this month we've decided to go with ACOTAR, or A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. We have quite a few people in the Patreon who have not read this yet, and I haven't read it in, I think it was like 5 years, and I feel like it's about time to do a little bit of reread. I've actually been listening to the graphic audio version and loving it, and I kind of forgot the original, like, beginning personalities of a lot of these characters, and I'm kind of, like, intrigued at how, like, my thought process was when I first read it to how, like, listening to the graphic audio, like, I don't know. I'm enjoying it, and I'm feeling different ways about some of the characters the second time around. So, it's been an interesting experience, and I'm loving it. I'm here for it. I'm most likely going to continue listening to the graphic novels, and I'm enjoying that. So I'm actually halfway through this one already. But I can't wait to discuss it with everyone who hasn't read it, and then for those of us revisiting it, see if we like think differently about some things, especially for those of us who are caught up on all of Sarah J. Maas. So, Court of Thorns and Roses. Well, okay, I scratched that last bit, like, 'cause that's a little too spoilery for people who may not have read the whole thing. So we'll keep that in the spoiler chat in the Discord maybe. But I'm very excited to be re-listening and rereading A Court of Thorns and Roses this month. A quick overview of the books so far before we hop into what I'm hoping to achieve during Magical Readathon, which some of these might make another appearance. So, we have A Court of Thorns and Roses, We Rule the Night, The Castle of Otranto, Check Me Out, and Empire of the Damned. This is the main April TBR, and I'm actually really excited for a lot of these after reading through those summaries and synopsis. I'm quite excited for this group of books. I also will be reading Play the Fool by Lena Chern. I forgot to mention that one. It's so hard to remember to mention it when I don't actually have the physical copy. So I'll also be reading that. So that's a total of 6 books on the TBR so far. So let's get into Magical Readathon. If you are new to my channel, you may not know that me and readathons tend to not get along very well. But I have made it my mission for April to finally get at least one full semester of the Magical Readathon, one full semester at Aurelium Academy under my belt. So I will be working towards becoming, now I kind of wanted to switch because we did add a new calling to the choices, but I'm going to stick with my first choice, which was Star Whisperer. We're going to stick with it and maybe double up. If I have time. So for Star Whisperer, I need 5 classes. I have to complete Art of Illusion, Astronomy, Inscription, Lore, and Psionics. Is it Psionics and Divination? So for these, let's see what I'll be reading. So for Art of Illusion, I have to read a book with the word game or play in the title, which brings us back to Play the Fool by Lena Chern. I said that it was going to be making an appearance, possibly, and this is where it's going to be. I kind of picked that one for this exact purpose. So I'll be reading that one for my Art of Illusion class. My next class is Astronomy, and for that it's a Zodiac Rec. So I'm an Aquarius, we are an air sign, and I searched through blog posts, I searched through videos to find a book on that was already physically on my TBR to complete this challenge. And I could not find one except one that would then cause me to start another series, and that is just something I do not want to do right now. So I did find one, and that was Dare to Lead by Brene Brown. This is a nonfiction book, and I absolutely love Brene Brown's nonfiction books. I am a big fan. I love them so much, and I am very excited to continue those books with Dare to Lead. I was able to find this one on, I believe, a blog post, either by a publisher or somewhere. I don't know. I looked at so many, but if I find that post, I will link it down below for any of my fellow Aquarians looking for a book rec for this challenge. But I'm going to be reading Dare to Lead, very excited about it, and I'll be listening to it on audio. So that is my pick for my Zodiac rec. My next class is Inscription, and for this I need to write down 3 titles, fold them up, and pick one. So why not do that with my TBR, right? It's the only thing that makes sense. So I think what I'm gonna do, instead of, no, we'll fold and pick one. We'll fold and pick one. All right, I'm gonna go write these down, and I'll be right back to pick one out. And because I am dramatic AF, I'm going to be using my massively huge coffee mug to pick this book out. So I got, they're in there. If you can see my 3 very small slips of paper. This coffee mug was a gift from my dad. It's ridiculous. I use it as a yarn bowl more often than this, and we also use it to roll for our Patreon sprints. So I'm just gonna fling these 3 pieces of paper around and pick one out. Okay, that's actually a lot heavier than you would think. Alright, so for my Inscription class, I will be reading The Castle of Otranto, a nice short one. Also counts, perfect for Magical Readathon. I could use a short read for one of these prompts to help me get through all of these classes. My 4th class for Magical Readathon is Lore, and this is to read or reread The Legend of Dia. So this is really nice. I don't have to choose a book for this. This is a legend that is supplied to us by G, and I'm very excited to read it and learn a little bit more about Dia. And my final class is Psionics and Divination for the Star Whisperer for the Spring Equinox semester. And for this is playing Prediction Bingo. If you've seen G's reading vlogs lately, she played Prediction Bingo, where you basically make a bingo board of your own and predict what you think is going to happen in the book. So for this, I've chosen to use Empire of the Damned by J. Kristoff. So another one of my already TBR books. I'm hoping to get through this first semester Magical Readathon with mostly my own TBR. So that is the plan, and so far it's working very well. So I'm going to do Prediction Bingo with Empire of the Damned. I thought that would be really fun to kind of like guess what I think is going to happen, or items that might make an appearance, or characters that might kick the bucket because it is J. Kristoff and we know how that goes. Like maybe I'll be like, I think everyone's gonna die. And honestly, who knows? I could be right about that, which worries me. But since this is not the end, I have some hope that that's not gonna happen. But it could go on my Prediction Bingo. Who knows? So I'm very excited to kind of play along with that, and you'll see those in my reading vlogs, though I'll probably keep it a little more broad so I don't spoil anything for anyone during that section. But yeah, I'm going to be playing Prediction Bingo for my Psionics and Divination class with Empire of the Vampire. So that is my TBR, my April TBR Cafe round, as well as my TBR for the Magical Readathon, at least how it stands right now. Maybe we'll get a little bit more if I try to go for Thread Mage after I finish my Star Whisperer classes. We shall see. That might be too much. That might be too much with the way my Readathon track record is. So I'm very excited for April. After finishing my TBRs for January through March, I'm on a roll with my reading, even though there's been a few slip-ups with books that I didn't necessarily care for, and it kind of like brought me down a little bit. I powered through those slumps and found new books to enjoy, so I'm hoping that April goes the same way, and It's going to be very exciting. I will be vlogging my Magical Readathon journey, so join me for those reading vlogs coming soon. If you want to let me know what your favorite book that you're hoping to get to, or not favorite book, your most anticipated book for April is, leave a comment down below. And if you just want to let me know that you were here, leave a coffee cup emoji down in the comments as well. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all soon in a brand new video or in my live show reading sprints. Take care, everyone, and happy reading.